Star Wars Battlefront 2 is finally here. This time around we have a single player campaign, a class system, more depth, more eras, more everything. There are a lot of positives about this game and a lot of negatives. And the negatives are kind of like when you sit down in a movie theater to watch a movie you've been waiting for a long time, and then some mouth breather sits next to you and talks through the entire movie. That's awesome. That's Darth Vader. Yeah, no shit, that's Darth Vader. I have eyes too. Are you gonna narrate the entire movie for us, you social dunce? I came to watch this awesome movie, and now I have you sitting next to me, putting a damper on my escapism. The movie is great, but there's this problem sitting right there, just whispering in my ear. This review will bounce all over the place. I'll go from negatives to positives, back to negatives, and back to positives. I'm really loving the game. The multiplayer is insanely fun, the immersion is ridiculous, the Star Wars touch is mind-blowing, but there are some pretty big negatives, and I'll talk about a few of them first. For example, the squad system. I actually think creating a squad out of spawning teammates is a cool idea, if you're playing with strangers. It's a neat way to put random people together, encourage teamwork, and potentially get more battle points by sticking together. But where this system completely shits the bed for me is when I want to play with my friends in a party. Yeah, technically you are in a party, your party member is glowing green, but other than that, there's really no reason to play with your friends in a party. Yeah, you spawn in together in the initial wave, and then after that, you barely see one another. You obviously die at different times, which makes you spawn in at different times. You might as well not even be playing in the same game. And I don't really understand why people complained about the 2015 Battlefront partner system. Was I the only person that thought that system was pretty solid? I'll let my semi-tipsy friend elaborate.
Yeah, and I hated it just even being able to do only two people, because like,
right.
Whenever you, me, and Derek would try to play together, you always had an odd man out. It's
right.
fucking dumb.
Yep, absolutely.
Meanwhile, we had a blast in Battlefield 3 and 4, having a four-man squad just fucking rip shit riding down the freeway with a
right.
fucking Jeep capturing shit.
You want to play with friends, right? But if your virtual avatar can't physically play with friends and be next to them on a constant basis during a match, you might as well be chit-chatting on the phone about your day and playing two completely different games. Another thing I'm not a fan of, and this was a complaint of mine when Battlefront 2015 was coming out too, is the fact that there's no voice chat. And once again, I'll let my semi-tipsy buddy elaborate.
Lack of communication with all teammates.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk to little kid trolls.
Fuck yourself. You gotta be able to talk to somebody, otherwise you just might as well be fighting bots.
Communication is key. And as my buddy said, if you're unable to communicate with your teammates, you might as well be playing against bots. I don't really know why voice chat isn't a thing in the game. Shouldn't voice chat be included in every objective-based multiplayer FPS? I think it's a vital feature. By not being able to communicate with your teammates via voice chat, it kind of feels like if you walked into one of those silent dance parties, you know? Those parties where everyone wears headphones and they dance to music that's in the headphones. It's kind of like if you walked into one of those parties without headphones on. Everyone is dancing and listening to music and you're just out of the loop, not synced with anyone else. Your rhythm is thrown off because you have no music to go by. You can try to dance, but you can't hear the beat. You can't anticipate the next step. You can't plot and plan with your teammates. You can't say, hey, go to that objective. We're not on the same page. Voice communication should be default. The argument that it's annoying is a dumb argument. It is, and I mean that as a term of endearment for all you guys making that argument, but it is a dumb argument for the feature not being in the game. All you have to do is mute it. Just because you don't like a feature doesn't mean the feature needs to be non-existent. Doesn't mean the fun has to be spoiled for the rest of us who want it. So yeah, the squad mechanics with friends and the lack of voice chat are really frustrating. But all of the multiplayer modes in Battlefront 2 are insanely fun, despite the frustrations of playing with friends and no voice communication. I love heroes versus villains. Playing as a hero or a villain feels fluid and is a ton of fun. I found using the special abilities very rewarding. Their cooldowns are fair and balanced. I really haven't experienced a match where I thought a character was overpowered. In Battlefront 2015, I always preferred playing as blaster-wielding characters, but in Battlefront 2, that has completely changed. I love playing as characters with lightsabers, specifically Darth Maul and Kylo Ren. When it comes to my favorite characters to play as, they are neck and neck. Where I find heroes versus villains disappointing can be found in a broader issue I have with the game. The fact that some heroes are locked. Despite how EA's response of pride and accomplishment became a meme and a laughingstock, I actually understand their response. I understand what they mean. There would be a sense of pride for unlocking Darth Vader, right? You earned him. I didn't really understand why that statement got so much backlash, and the thing is, I actually disagree with heroes being locked away in the first place. You bought a full-price Star Wars game. You want to play as the most iconic characters, right? They should be unlocked. It's just frustrating playing heroes versus villains when the other 3 people on your team don't have the locked heroes unlocked either, and if you're the last to pick a hero, you can only choose from one. And no, I want to correct something here. It is not possible to play a heroes versus villains match where all the unlocked heroes are taken. That's not possible. It's a 4v4 mode. There are 4 unlocked heroes. It's not possible. That's one example of the misinformation that's been floating out there and being perpetuated by speculative outrage and people who haven't played the game. And maybe some trolls. Probably some trolls too. Galactic Assault is the head honcho in multiplayer. It's a huge mode, multiplayer objectives, absolute chaos, extremely frustrating at times, but a whole lot of fun. I prefer the more close quarters maps, or close quarter sections of maps. Tatooine at the moment is my favorite Galactic Assault map. It suits my style of gameplay. Out of all the other maps, maybe Death Star is a close second. Urban combat through alleys and buildings. Hit E, grab the Vanguard ability and charge in. And if you're able to get Darth Maul during a Tatooine Galactic Assault map, or any map for that matter, Darth Maul just kicks ass, and there's a lot of enemies on an objective point, you can absolutely slaughter. I think the most frustrating map is Starkiller Base. When the match gets to the very front entrance of the base, it becomes a massive choke point. Just a back and forth stalemate, really. At least this has been my experience. Overall, Galactic Assault is an incredibly fun, teamwork-oriented game mode. It's where the real bread and butter can be found in Battlefront 2's multiplayer. But again, I want to play this game mode with my friends, and if there's no way to stick together, then I honestly have zero desire to play it with my friends. Starfighter Assault is a game mode that I thought I would not like, but I like it. The flying mechanics have been drastically improved. There's no more hitting a button and doing some stock maneuvers. It's up to you to evade incoming fire. I love the circle that pops up in front of the enemy ships, indicating where you need to lead the target. The matches can be extremely long and exhausting, and that's not a bad thing, but man, and this is just a personal problem, but after 20 or 30 minutes of flying around, I feel like I've been on mission space all day, and I need to take some motion sickness medicine. Again, that's just me and my weak-ass modern sea legs. I need to go back on deployment and build up that tolerance, I guess. The mode that I thought I would like the most is Strike, but if I had to rank my favorite modes from most favorite to least favorite, it would be Galactic Assault, Heroes vs. Villains, Strike, Blast, and Starfighter Assault. So yeah, Strike is the middle of the road for me. Some maps are a lot of fun, most feel like a stalemate, most feel a bit too restrictive, a bit too linear. If you're in a match where you have to take a thing to a thing, and you get that thing to your specific destination where you need to take it to win the match, it seems like you have to sit on the destination for what feels like an eternity before you win the match. And most of the time, while you're sitting there waiting for the timer to finish, you get shot. Don't get me wrong, Strike is a great mode to play if you're looking for constant change, fast-paced instant action, and still have an objective-driven match without the longevity of Galactic Assault. And Strike might actually be the best mode to play with friends and stick together. And the final multiplayer mode is Blast. Blast is Blast. It's team deathmatch, and it's fun. I mean, there's not much to say about deathmatch. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of a required mode in a multiplayer shooter, right? But the action is fast-paced and fun. Both teams start out with 100 tickets, and the team that runs out of tickets loses. If you're looking to get better at multiplayer, and you want to improve your running and gunning skills, then Blast is a good mode to fire up and practice in. Like I said, all of the multiplayer game modes are solid. Obviously, I'm going to like some modes more than others, but that's the same with anyone, right? We like the modes we like because we all have a different style of playing. Now, the whole reason I waited to put out this review was because I wanted to see what happened to the hero price backlash and what happened with the microtransaction loot box and progression system. I wanted to hear what EA's response was going to be. I wanted to know if they were going to change anything. And as we know, they did. No more microtransactions. For now, at least. Hero prices were cut by 75%, and progression, according to EA's blog post, will be solely earned through gameplay. That's awesome. The only thing I'd change out of that would be having no heroes locked away at all. Just unlock them. I think that kind of sucks. Overall, I'm not a fan of loot boxes. Even if they are earned in-game and cannot be purchased, I just think you should be able to unlock these abilities by leveling up your class. You level up, you should be able to pick some abilities on a tree or something. The idea of hitting the slot machine button and randomly getting star cards isn't my cup of tea, especially since most of the time what you receive in these loot boxes don't go with the class or hero you like playing as the most. Oh neat, I got 2 specialist cards. I don't like playing as specialists. I guess that 4,000 credit crate was a waste. I'm just not a fan. Like I said, I think you should be able to pick star cards once you hit a certain level, or unlock them through milestones. Oh, milestones. So milestones are little challenges you complete to get credits, crates, or other goodies. I'm not much of a completionist. I don't really go out of my way to try and check off challenges in video games. But if knocking out challenges is your thing, there are plenty for you to tackle, and more coming in future DLC packs. Despite not being that into completing challenges, I'm glad they have this in the game. The game, without a doubt, does a good job catering to different playstyles. Arcade is a single-player, local co-op, or local versus mode. I'm glad something like this is in the game. Yes, it's fun to complete battle scenarios, but overall it's not really for me, and not something I'll probably play very often, unless of course my little nephew is over and we want to play some versus or co-op. But that brings me to something I wish was in the game. I wish we could play some of the multiplayer modes in arcade. Does that make sense? Like, I wish we could play local multiplayer Galactic Assault. It would be fun to play Galactic Assault split-screen co-op against a bunch of bots, or Strike, or Starfighter Assault, or Heroes vs. Villains. Plop on the couch, play Galactic Assault locally with a friend against some bots, and have some fun. I really wish that was a thing. Okay, it's time to talk about the campaign. I'm not going to go that in-depth with the story, just in case some of you guys haven't finished the campaign, but I will be talking about some of the things that happen early on, some of the overall things I was disappointed with. So, if you have not played the campaign, and you don't want to know anything, I would recommend stopping this video and coming back to it once you finish the campaign. Okay? I'm giving you 5 seconds to shut it off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I absolutely loved the first hour and a half or so of the campaign. Playing as Iden Versio was an absolute blast. Blasting your way out of Rebel custody, fighting on Endor and seeing the Death Star 2 blow up overhead, flying through Death Star debris, seeing the Emperor giving orders from the grave, boarding a Rebel cruiser, playing on the side of the Empire was so much fun. I really liked the dynamic between Luke Skywalker and Del, and I even liked playing as Luke Skywalker. Where things fell apart for me was when Iden defected so quickly. It felt rushed. To me, in a perfect world, the campaign would have been nothing but glory and triumph for the Galactic Empire, but no! No, we have to have our main character switch sides. So Iden's planet was targeted for destruction. I'm not too sure why. Vardos was loyal to the Empire, but the fact that Vardos was scheduled to be destroyed immediately changed Iden's stance in the Galactic Civil War. Immediately. Up until this point, I was having so much fun. And granted, the gameplay is still fun, but the entire vibe of the campaign did a 180. And it felt like, well, it felt like if you went to see your favorite stand-up comedian and they told jokes from one of their old stand-up specials, and you already knew all these jokes, but you wanted new jokes. You have this new character that's really neat, and has a rich backstory to explore, and motivations that would be fun to dissect. But no. Let's play as Lando! Let's play as Han! Let's play as Leia! And hey, I know a lot of you guys loved the campaign, and that's great, but I just feel like they had such an interesting and unique thing going, and they gave us what they thought Star Wars fans would want, right? Everyone wants to play as Lando, everyone wants to play as Han, everyone wants to play as Leia, everyone wants to play as Luke. Yeah, but not really. Not if you have an awesome Imperial Special Forces character hellbent on destroying the Rebellion. Exploring that character, the entirety of the short campaign, playing as that character for the campaign's 4 or 5 hours, is where the real bread and butter of telling a unique and interesting new Star Wars story is. So yeah, the campaign, while it was fun, I was overall disappointed with how it panned out. It went from being amazing to predictable, and predictability kills the potential for a good story, in my opinion. It almost feels like some suits came into the writer's room and said, yeah, this is all neat, but what about playing as Han Solo? Star Wars fans love Han Solo! Yeah, we do. We absolutely love Han Solo. But we also love new and interesting characters too. So, is Battlefront 2 worth the $60 price tag? Yes. Yeah, it absolutely is. I'm having a ton of fun playing it. The gameplay is incredible, the attention to detail is mind-blowing, the graphics are probably the best I've seen in any video game to date, but if you're looking to just play Battlefront 2 as a single-player experience, I don't know if you'll be satisfied. I don't know if there's enough content for you to be happy. On the other hand, If you're looking to play Battlefront 2 for both its single-player and multiplayer content, then getting it to me, despite all the negative things I mentioned before, is a no-brainer. HelloGreedo, out.
Always with you, what cannot be done.